Thank you for joining us with Let's Talk Business podcast, Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, Let's Talk Business. So we're here today with Ms. Pauline Martin from Harbor Logistics. How are you today, Pauline?
I'm just doing fine, and yourself?
I'm doing good. It's Friday. We get to meet some great people and learn some great things about what's going on. First, we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. We want to thank Southwest Airlines as a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We also would like to thank Primacore Solutions. Okay, Ms. Pauline, tell us a little, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Pauline Martin, and I am an owner of Harbor Logistics LLC. We are a transportation management company. We provide hauling services throughout the United States. We haul general and oversized freight from East Coast to West Coast.
Nice.
Been in business for 3 years, 3.5 years.
Well, congratulations for that. And that half a year matters for sure. This is awesome. So tell us a little bit about, your experience, how you got started and what made you get into that business.
Okay, well, I've actually been a business owner for 13 years. My background is in healthcare. Started out as a medical supply delivery company based out of Houston, Texas. We deliver medical supplies for patients that were in the home setting. Anything from, diapers to nutritional products to respiratory care type products. And by us delivering, there became a shift in the healthcare arena, and it kind of transitioned to us delivering into transportation. And it was an easy transition because I already had that experience. And so with that being said, decided to go straight into delivering small commodities, got the experience in that, and moved into the heavy haul.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So that is very interesting because you actually show where the pivot is possible.
Yes.
You start one place and you can start in one industry and end up somewhere totally different.
Yes.
Okay. And successful.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Hats off to you for showing us what it's like to do that.
Yes.
So you have some goals when it comes to government contracts. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's been an experience with that. So I'll go back to when I started out as a business owner. I found that, it wasn't easy breaking into the industry because, you try to get, your smaller clientele, and then you find that, you try to find your niche. And how do you gain access to more customers? And then you learn about, being a women-owned business. That's how you are able to get, more customers with government. So by, reading, getting more knowledge through the SBA and the different organizations, I learned that, you could be ahead of the curve by becoming a women-owned business, minority-owned business, and gaining more access. So all I did was I transitioned that knowledge over to transportation. And so right now, with doing that, my goal is to, get more contracts with the federal government and bring other minority-owned businesses along with me so we can get an impact gain. Well, put more dollars in our community is what I would like to do, and get more jobs into our community.
How cool is that? I really like that. The fact that you're really aiming, your goal is to actually get more jobs in a community that's definitely underserved.
Yes.
That is super huge. You talked a little bit about your certifications, though. Tell us a little bit about your certifications, which ones you have, and kind of what was the process? What was it that made you actually make the decision to become certified in all those different areas?
Okay, so I felt in the beginning, I noticed that I was kind of stuck in a rut where, it's when I say stuck in a rut where, okay, I'm only getting access to a certain customer base and I'm not moving. So I'm looking at my competition and seeing where they're gaining and I'm kind of stuck. So I started, looking at and going to different classes, trying to elevate my mind and figure out what do I have access to as a small business. And with that being said, I learned about women-owned businesses, what I have access to with government, prime, being a subcontractor, and learning that I ended up going through the process. It's a lengthy process, but it's worth it. With being a small business. So the certifications that I do have currently is I am a DBE. I'm certified with the City of Houston. I'm a women-owned business. I'm an economically disadvantaged small business. I think I said I'm a MBE as well. And so those processes can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months to complete those processes. We're talking about filling out the application, gathering all the data and the documents that's required to have the documents processed through the system.
It's very true. It does take a little bit of time, but do you believe that it was well worth it?
Yes, I do. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. So for those people who are actually listening and watching, what would we say? Like, I know what I would say to people when it's talking about certification, but what advice would you give those who may be listening and talking about the certifications and then possibly not wanting to do it because it puts them in a box?
Well, I would tell them, don't look at the stack. Because when you're given the application, it's a stack of papers. Look at the results and what you would gain access to, and the endless possibilities of what you would have. So it will be worth it in the end.
I like it. So have you become a prime? Are you a prime contractor yet or now?
No, not yet. No, not yet.
So you're working towards that.
I'm striving for that. Yes, I am.
I love that goal though, because I didn't recognize until I had that conversation with Mr. Lloyd Jernigan, that process of subcontracting. What he meant was that as a subcontractor, we're building our resume of what's possible and allowing people to see what we can do. And then after we build the confidence in the people who are going to give us the money or give us a contract, they then in turn get an opportunity. They see our work and they say, okay, now you can become the prime and you go find the subcontractors.
Absolutely. And that's the way it works. You're building a resume and they're watching you. They're watching you to see what you can do. And are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to go through the process? And that's what it's about.
I see you smile when you talk about the fact that you want to give jobs and that, man, I got to prove myself, prove myself worthy of being able to do this. And I think that that's an awesome way to do that. I'm proud. I'm like excited, and every time I hear people in trucking, I'm just like, maybe I should go and do that. Like, no, we can't do that, Tabitha. That's not your thing. That's not your lane. Stay in your lane. Type of thing. You definitely encourage me to make sure that I have a better understanding of my certification now. Actually, conversations with you guys, and I appreciate that from everyone that I've met that have been able to talk a little bit about that, because I think it's very, very important. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Tri-County Regional Black Chamber has been able to help you in your business.
So with joining the chamber, for me, it has enlightened me in terms of connecting the dots with learning what's available to me as a small business. So at the time when I joined the chamber, I had already, knew about the what's available in terms of government, small business certifications. But what the chamber did was say, okay, you have the small business certifications, but let's learn about the subcontracting process and how you can build upon that and how you can form partnerships. And let's connect with those primes and how you can bring the smaller businesses together to make a powerful impact. And that resonated with me because I'm all about community and about entrepreneurship. And the chamber just really elevate that. And I love that about Tri-County.
That is great because man, that's powerful because I think community community, if we build the right community, we actually have a really good opportunity to be so successful
Yes.
Versus individually.
Yes.
And I think that the chamber actually allows that. And I'm so glad you were able to communicate that the way you were.
Yes.
Now that is thinking awesome. So
yes.
who may be wanting to join, that they understand what they're possibly doing. But the question I'll ask is, with the chamber, you join the chamber, you loving what's going on. Does the chamber do the work for you?
The chamber does not do the work for you. The chamber, I look at the chamber as a tool, as a guidance tool, because you have to, as a company, you have to be able to do the work so that your support system, your body, your group of people that work for you will know what to do. It's like being the leader of a company. How can you be the leader and you don't know what's going on in your own company? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So the chamber to me is a tool. It's a vehicle to say it gives you like, okay, I'm a small business and I'm coming to the chamber. They connect the dots like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm needing. Well, they have another business in the chamber that have what I need. So that's what I love about the chamber.
This is good because some people say that they don't want to join some of those places, or they joined it and they didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The problem is that they went in with the expectation that company, that community was there to do the job for them.
And that's not what it's about. No.
And because the comment has come up multiple times, I wanted to make sure that because you were so good at communicating how you felt about the chamber, that you were a great person to be able to explain that it's what you put into your community is what you're going to be expected to get out of it.
Right. You have to be, I look at it like this. You have to be willing to do the work, just like, you have a business. The business is not going to be successful unless you're willing to do the work, like sales. A business is not going to flourish unless you have sales folks to get out there and market to let the people know I'm here, I'm available.
Yes, and I actually like the fact that inside the chamber, there are lots of different businesses. So you have the opportunity to really be able, so for me, I'm not strong in marketing. Marketing is my thing. I don't care what you do. You can paint, you can put lipstick on that pig. You can give me all the tools. I will eventually figure it out, but not before I go hide underneath the table somewhere. But what I found was there are people in the chamber that actually can fill the gap to where I'm missing. So not only does the chamber allow you the ability to understand navigating the business process and business plans and things like that, and then give you a sense of belonging. Mm-hmm. It also gives you access to additional people that you wouldn't have normally had access to. Mm-hmm. And that's your different peers are able to overcome where you are currently.
Yes.
Or being able to give you either work with them or give you ideas and pointers as to what you should do next for your business.
Yes.
So, and I always talk about marketing because clearly I have a marketing issue and I still have yet to figure it out, but I'm working with somebody. I call her and talk to her. So she talks to me a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. But And those people exist. And I actually met another business owner there too that's actually helping to support me in a different way, where I knew I needed the help, but I didn't search it out. But we just so happened to be in the same place at the same time, and we are running with it for the last couple of weeks. So the chamber gives us that ability to look at other people, and I'm really happy that I was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Stinking awesome.
And again, that connection, and I love, and I too, I've connected with other members in the chamber to help me with other guidance on advice that I need in transportation. And what do I do? I don't know everything. So I ask a ton of questions. I'm not afraid to ask a question about something that I don't know about. I'm a note taker. Everywhere I go, I have a notepad.
I can attest to that. I see, like, well, all right, you on your job. That's cool. That's really good. I love that. So because you have a business, Harbor Logistics of your own,
Mm-hmm.
Is the opportunity for them to get to know what's going on in the chamber inside your company? Is that there, or
No, we you mean, is there a connection with Tri-County on our website?
No, I'm sorry, because I was all of a sudden they turned up this music, but they no. How does the chamber impact your employees? How are you been able to, what they've given to you, are you able to roll out or pour into your employees from what the chamber has taught you? Is there anything like that?
So what I've learned is from Tri-County and dealing with the staff that I have is approaching prime contractors and the government contractors in terms of supplier diversity. I've learned that you cannot approach the powers that be as an individual, meaning as an individual company. You have to approach them as collectively as a group. You kind of get missed when you go at them individually, because they see you as a single, as one. But when you approach them collectively and you find out, hey, I'm a member, who is the supplier diversity contact person? This is what I do. They're more open to listening to what it is that you have to offer. I thought initially that I was going about my approach to these different companies the right way, and I have been doing it wrong for the last 3 years.
I think there's any such thing as wrong. I think it's just a lesson we need to learn. It's not a wrong way. It's just a lesson.
So I now, it's like I'm totally changing, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm totally changing my approach, because just within the last 2 weeks I've learned, hey, maybe you need to tweak it a little bit and change your approach, and that's okay. And I love it, because now I feel more comfortable in how I can go after my new customers to see what happens.
I like that. That's pretty good. But okay, so that actually helps, because I think what a lot of people don't get is that when you join a community, you lean on their partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been where you are today, they understand what it's like to get you to where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. And if you go ahead and you can build those partnerships, but it will take you longer. And we really have that type of time.
Yes.
And I think that that's really important for a lot of people to understand when it comes to that. So I think that's awesome. That's really cool. Like, you're like, no, I tried to do by myself, but I mean, hold on. You don't make no mistakes. I just believe that everything that we do, we have to learn, because the only way we know our limits is when we reach the limit and we just say, oh, wait, that's too far. We can't go that far. We have to pull it back. So I love that. I love this all about it. Okay. So because your business is a lot to do with transportation, logistics, and trucking, mm-hmm. What are some of the people that you would like to join your business? What do they look like? Who's your ideal, ideal trucker to come work for Harbor Logistics?
That's a good question.
Because there's a lot of truckers out here.
That I would look at to come and work for me is not necessarily a seasoned trucker. I am open. I'm looking for someone that's trainable. If they have a background, that's okay. I am an advocate for second chances. I'm an advocate for those that have been incarcerated. I have been to TDC. I have been to the federal building downtown for prisoners marketing, for transportation to teach. Because in transportation, I can speak for Harbor Logistics. What I care about is, can you do the job? Can you transport and get my customer's product from point A to point B safely?
Say it louder for people in the back.
Operators. I'm looking for those that are willing, if you can be over the road, because what I do is these loads sometimes can take 1 day. Sometimes you have to be over the road 3 weeks. You may have to be over the road for 30 days. But the most important thing is safety. And if you can do the job, that's it.
You know what? And I'm glad that I asked that question, because there are a lot of people out here that they just can't seem to get out from underneath and something that happened to them and something that happened with them in their younger years, and they made significant change and they still are not given a chance. So I applaud you for that. And I thank you very much for for us being able to communicate that to anyone who's listening today, because that's really important. As we segue into the Alliance. Director of Trucking Alliance for Tri-County Regional Black Chamber. So tell us a little bit about that, what the mission is and how that came about.
Okay, so the Trucking Alliance, it's new for us. It's a great program. And it came about because we all noticed that there are a lot of transportation minority owned businesses in Houston. And we all work individually. And so we're able to get the business onesie, twosies here, but there's a lot of business that's available. And we figured that if we all come together collectively, we can get the bigger contracts. So the whole point to bring together the Alliance is to provide the resources to be a vehicle to the individual trucking companies to go out and get the funding and the contracts to get the work. That's it.
That's it. That can't be it. You have a whole entire alliance behind this, so you're just trying to get them to do that.
By coming together, we'll be able to get the contract, because individually it will be extremely hard to do that.
Yeah, because, and like you talked about before, when you said you're 3 years, right? But you were doing it a specific way, and for 3 years you weren't making the headway, or you weren't gaining the momentum you needed, and you began to do it slightly different, and you came collective. So this is an opportunity to kind of do that here.
Yes. And most contracts, they ask that, you have to be in business for XYZ amount of years. And you have a lot of independent owner operators that may have been in business for 6 months, may have been in business less than a year. But if you get with smaller other companies, they may have been in business for 5, 6, 10 years. But they may have, less than 5 trucks. But if you have a number of us that pull together, we can have 50, 100 trucks that can go out and get the work and get the job done. Because these contracts, they require you to have a certain quantity of trucks. So it makes a difference.
Wait a second. They need a certain number of trucks when they come out?
For certain contracts, yes.
And so, okay, so two things. One is that what type of trucks are we talking about? Because I think there's got to be the terminology. I think for me, when I first thought about trucking, I only thought about 18 wheels.
Okay, so when you're talking about transportation, there are a number of different types of trucks. Okay, so you're talking about with trucks, you're dealing with dump trucks, you're dealing with flatbeds, you're dealing with dry vans, you're dealing with reefers, tankers, oversized, you're dealing with wind and energy. It's a lot.
So it's not just, see, that's why I because man, I learned so much when trying to do these, right? Is that I don't realize that you mean that I just learned so much. I don't get it. I never understood it before, but I get it now. So they're looking for everything. Anybody, if you can do it, and then you have to give them a certain number of trucks in order to do the job.
Yeah. So whether it's government or a prime contractor, they put out a solicitation, they'll tell you exactly what they're looking for. The type of work that's required. So let's say it's a construction type contract. They'll tell you if they're needing a belly dump, end dump truck, or if they're needing flatbed, how many, how long the flatbed needs to be, a 48, 53 foot, or if they're needing a 13 axle, they're telling you what you need. So so what I look at is that with the alliance, if we come together as a group, and let's say you have Harbor Logistics or someone else with their company, and they say, hey, Ms. Martin, I can provide the 13 axle. I have 10 13 axles. Well, hey, perfect. Bring them aboard. Someone has 10 end dumps, bring them aboard. Guess what? We're able to fulfill that obligation for that contract. That's how it works.
That's pretty cool. I never thought about that. And see, I think that's not for all industries. I don't know. I guess because I'm in services, I'm in a different space.
Mm-hmm.
Say this is what you have to do. You're just responsible for getting it done. And then you just bring certain people on board to fill the gaps. But
right.
For you guys, it's actually listed out for what you need, what they're looking for, and what they're transporting.
Right. It's very specific.
And you like this, huh?
I do.
I'm like, what? I mean, I like being very clear. I like the expectations being very clear as to what we need to do. I never thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
So inside the alliance, so in order to become part of the alliance, what do people need to do?
All they need to do is contact, the chamber. They can come. I'm listed there. Contact myself at the chamber, and they can become a member. But they have to be a member with the chamber.
Very good. Make sure people need to. If anybody wants to go ahead and become part of the Trucking Alliance with Tri-County Regional Black Chamber, mm-hmm. They need to tcbcc.org in order to join the chamber.
Yes.
It's the only time you're going to be able to get any information about the chamber, about this program.
Yes.
Other programs that are going on. So it's very important that if you want to get closer to the money, if you want to work with a community that's going to be supporting you, that this is a great place to start, for sure.
Yes. Yes.
So what else do you do with the chamber? Because you do a lot of things, and it's been a little bit of time. So I just met you not too long ago. And I was like, oh, I'm excited.
Well, I'm a member. I'm head of the Trucking Alliance, and I network just like everybody else. I'm seeking and I'm striving for more knowledge and, working on trying to get more contracts. That's what I do. And I'm sharing any information that I have, I love to share.
Oh, so you're not, I like that. You like to disseminate the information out.
Yes. Yes, and I'm big on. My goal is entrepreneurship. So when you team up with me or you go to work for me, my expectation is for you to take flight, for you to become your own boss. It's about entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. For me, that's the whole goal.
That's nice. That's good. That's helpful for a lot of people because sometimes they don't have that type of support in the long run. So I
Yeah.
think that's really an awesome way to look at it. So that's pretty good. I'm looking at my questions. So again, so for the Trucking Alliance, do you have to have a business already, or can they be starting a business in order to join the Trucking Alliance?
You can be in the starting process. I mean, because that's the whole point with Tri County. You could start a business. You can come through Tri County, and they'll help you through the process. You have to be willing to do the work.
Yep, you gotta be
Again,
willing to do
you
the
can't
work.
expect for Tri County to do it for you. You have to be willing to do the work.
Right. So there's a lot of people that are out there right now during the pandemic. So we're going to talk a little bit, about, can you tell us a little bit about how the pandemic has helped or hurt your business during this time of quarantine or sheltering in place?
That's a great question. So, in terms of transportation, it's definitely changed how we do business. So, you have the industries that were hot, what we call hot, at the time, have kind of went flat, and it's because a lot of manufacturing plants have skeleton crew, meaning that a lot of people that are working at the plants to manufacture parts, they're having to work from home because of the pandemic. So they're not able to put together the parts that are needed just, to put together huge pieces of equipment or small pieces of equipment. So right now, the what we call the hot things that are moving are, food, reefers, things that go on reefers, which are refrigerated goods or dry goods. Talking about rice,
Thank you. 'Cause I'm like, what's a reefer? That sounds very challenging.
household goods, toilet papers, things, sanitizers, detergent, things like that are moving. Now, recently, flatbed, things that are go on the back of a flatbed open deck trailer are starting to pick up manufacturing plants. They're starting to slowly bring in crew on the manufacturing plants, but they're still not working at 100%. So what's happening is that trucking companies are having to they're having to shift to pretty much pick up, go to dry goods to make that balance. So if your niche was flatbed, you have to scale back and do dry goods until the flatbed picks up.
Wow. Okay. So there was a shift that
Yes.
happened in trucking.
Yes.
This was not necessarily an industry that was, it wasn't, so it keeps, how does she say, it keeps America running.
Mm-hmm.
Was still a portion of it that was reduced because there were so many people that couldn't they had to shelter in place and everything.
Yes. It like I said, a lot of the manufacturing plants, they either shut down or skeleton crew,
Mm-hmm.
fabricators, pipe, anything you can think of that needs to be made that require something being put together, they had to scale back.
They had to scale back, so that ultimately impacted the trucking
Mm-hmm.
industry as a
Yes.
whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and actually having this conversation now actually allows me to remember or realize. So I think it's a lot about awareness. At some point in time, there's a lot of people who really don't know or understand all the ins and outs. We don't think about it because we know that the gas will always be there. So we think about how does the gas get there, right? So when everyone started sheltering in place, that means there were less cars on the road. meaning that meant that the supply chain for gasoline actually reduced as well. And it wasn't until, I promise you, till this conversation right now that I realized that now I understand the oil and gas industry and how that flux actually impacted tremendously behind that, because that means their trucks are not going out to deliver gas because they are not using the type of gas they were using prior to the pandemic. So,
and it wasn't just the United States; it's worldwide.
right.
Everybody was sheltering in place. So people in the United States, where we have to pick up from the port or wherever, it was slow, really slow. So it affected everybody.
So tell me, how were you with as Harbor Logistics? How were you? What changes or were you able to navigate through the pandemic during the downtime for your business?
So for us, what we did was we actually kept working. And we kept working because we also have another niche, which is wind and energy. And so with wind and energy, that market,
okay.
Wind and energy. So what we do is we move wind components, the wind blades on the wind farm. So we were busy. We kept busy doing that. And that's huge. That's going to be around for many years to come. So we kept busy with that. And then you're dealing with moving the blades from the port, from different, what is it they call them? They call them staging areas, moving from the south up through the Midwest, all the way up north. We're talking like Iowa, Wisconsin, those areas. So we kept busy.
So there was
moves. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So you were still able to keep your business moving.
Yes, and that's all the more reason why, I'm an advocate for teaching our community about what's available to us out there, because that's a market that there's not a lot of us out there doing it.
Yeah, we're learning that, but a lot of people felt like, well, when the pandemic happened, everything stopped, that there was no business out there.
Yeah,
but we still seen the trucks out there. It just wasn't always the same trucks. So it may have been gasoline trucks, but there just wasn't as many gasoline trucks.
Right.
But again, the wind and energy, that's a big thing by itself, because that means that it's not 18 wheels with the trailer. It would be, it's the one, the long one. I don't know the terminology. I just
so with those, so those are what they call specialized trailers. And so you have the components to put up what they call the wind farm. They have the blade trailers. Those are specialized trailers. They're really long trailers. And then you have your tower trailers, and which are like snowball trailers, half snowball trailers. And then you have your top dollies that move the nacelles and the hubs and the midsections and the base. So those require the drivers that haul those pieces are specialty type drivers with experience. You have to have experience to move those pieces, but those projects are ongoing. They're ongoing. They're nonstop throughout the year. And so they have not been really impacted. Now, as far as those manufacturing plants, of course, they have the provisions set in place for, the pandemic, but they have been moving.
I like this. I love this conversation. This has actually been a very insightful conversation. The reason why is you're excited about it, but at the same time, you're teaching us, people who don't know, a little bit more about logistics, about what it's taking to get it done. And that is a testament to actually being part of a community that allows the ability to be able to share your experience and your knowledge and your expertise with people who may not really understand how to do that. Because I remember hearing one young lady say that she keeps bidding, but she's not getting the results. But over a period of time, what will happen is that if she starts to ask the right questions to the right people, she will learn that you don't have to go it alone in that process in order to understand what you need. And so I would have never, like, all I see are trucks on the road. Let just be honest. The only thing I do next to a truck is when it's open, and I guess you consider a specialty truck, is envision where's that valve going and how will that set up? And I like to try to put the pieces together of what it does. And I got so excited this one day when I was driving down the street and I was like, that's the valve I seen on the back of that truck. You know?
But that's what I do, Tabitha. That's what I do. I look, and you know what I'll do? I'll take a mental note and try to remember it. And so at my next stop, I'll pull over at the gas station and write it down real quick on my notepad.
I need to send you my messages. What? It's funny because I'm sitting there, I'm like, because my mind is so methodical that I sit there and I'm like, okay, so where would that be? And what's that going to push through? And how do they turn that valve? Or how do they put all these pieces together? You know, because there's the ones that the ones that really freak me out is the ones where it's a single truck, but the load is so wide that they need a leading truck.
Yeah. You know what people don't know is that about our city. Our city is a beautiful city. It is a hub for trucking. It is a hub. Almost anything you can think of come out of the city of Houston, out of our port. We have one of the largest ports in the United States of America. And if you want to know, just go to the Port of Houston and you can see what's moving. Just sit near the port and see what's moving, and you'll see what's hot and what's not.
That is amazing. So, I mean, so much stuff has been moving around. I love this. And so the logistics part of what you do, and then you put in the certification so that you can go and sit at the table and at least have the conversation and be considered in the bidding process. And that's awesome. And now a trucking alliance that actually helps to kind of pull all those pieces together. You know, right. What's the most valuable piece of advice you can give to other people who may be looking to do logistics?
Do your homework.
What does that mean?
A lot of people believe that, they want to get into trucking. I'm just going to go and get a truck and put it to work. No. If you're going to become a trucking company, there's things you have to do. You need to go and get it registered. You have to get permits. You have to get a DOT number through the Department of Transportation. You have to buy an IFTA sticker. You have to get insurance.
What's sticker? What's a sticker? What sticker are we talking about?
So there are two things. You can either be intrastate or interstate. Intrastate means you only going to run within Texas or within your state. If you decide to move your truck or move commodities outside, meaning going from state to state, you're considered interstate. You have to get an IFTA sticker to move from state to state. And some folks don't know that. So some people think that, okay, I want to get a trucking company. I'm going to go get a truck and I start moving freight. That's not the way it works. There are things that you have to do that. You need to go and file for a business name. You need to go and get an EIN number. You need to go and get a DOT number and authority. Those are licenses that are required to do that.
Oh, so if anybody wants to come, so this is why the chamber is a good place to be, because
yes,
you have just in trucking. No wonder you're the director of trucking. I'm like, what? You have to do what sticker? I thought the only sticker I needed was one on my driver's license.
No.
But you have so much other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What about, so you talk about insurance. So is insurance bonding, or is it the same or different?
Okay, so
this is a master class.
Totally different. Totally different. Okay, so in terms of insurance, you have to get two types of insurance. You have to get commercial insurance and you have to get auto liability insurance. Okay, that's two different types of insurance that you have to get. Okay, and then depending on if you decide to go after a contract, that contract is going to require you to get a bond. It
So
could be a $50,000 bond. It can be a $75,000 bond. It can be $1 million bond. I don't know, but you're going to be required to get that. Okay, that's something totally different. So you just have to be ready. So if I were you, or if I were that company, you just have to get those things aligned up. But as far as insurance, that's a must because you're going to have that in order to get your authority.
So you're serious. You're saying authority. You say you got to get DOT and then you got to get authority.
Okay, so the DOT number, that's actually your authority.
Okay. So, okay, now look here. Now, I'm not a trucker, but I know. I go and I'll be looking it up, or I'll be calling you. I can't find authority.
So you know what? That's something that the chamber would navigate and help that person with. They'll guide you through the process on getting your trucking company start up and going, but they will have to be willing to do the work because it's a process.
So how long does it take? Like how long does it take you to come up with, so you know you want to go into trucking and you want to build this business. So how long is the general idea of how long it will take to create that business and to become a part of your trucking alliance?
Okay, so to get your business up and going, meaning, once you decide, okay, this is what I want to do, getting the authority, that'll take, 30 days or less.
Really? It's not.
Yes, your authority, the insurance and the bonding, that'll take 30 days or less to get off there. That's the paperwork itself. 30 days or less. That's clean paperwork with no type of hiccups. Now, if you're looking at 60 days.
Okay. So it's good for people to know. Now, so we understand. So it's going to take about, we'll say 30 to 60 days, depending on your paperwork to get started. If you're just listening and you're saying, okay, I want to be in business as a truck driver, so I'm going to do this. So would you suggest that people go ahead and do the certifications, even if they're able to just go ahead and build their business? Would you suggest them to begin the process for the certification, or would you suggest them to try it out and see if it's a business that they like and then do the certifications?
They have to do the business because the certifications are going to ask you questions about your business.
What if you just start? You're just starting. There's some information they ask you, but if you're just start, I guess
okay, So when you say certifications, can you clarify?
Sure. Thank you. I'm talking about as a minority or DBE, MWBE, all of the certifications with the city, because I think so. There are certain companies in order for you to work with them, you have to be certified through the city, right? And then, but if you're just getting started, and you're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I don't know if this is really my lane that I want to play in. Would you suggest them to go and get their MWBE or their SBE or anything like that?
Well, you have to be a business in order to receive those certifications. Right. It's not an individual, it's for a business. So you have to have a business, some sort of business in order to receive those certifications. It's not for individuals.
Right. But would you suggest that people go and do those certifications after they created their business?
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't get that part, but yes. I highly recommend they get that.
But why? Because there's a lot of people that are pushing back on getting the certifications because it takes 6 months.
Well, I suggest that they get it so that way they can. So once they get the certifications, they're put into the city and the database. And so whenever there's a contractor or something coming down the pipeline, they'll be on alert. The city will send out the alerts. Tri-County will send out the alerts if you fit into that mold for that particular contract that's coming out. You're aware as to what's coming on, and you can go out and bid. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and fill out the paperwork, because you never know, you may get it.
Yes, I like that. And I was wondering if that was the case with trucking, because the reason why I asked the question is because when I was looking at the study, I think it's a diversity study for the city of Houston, we noticed that there was a lot of companies that were listed. Like there's a lot of companies in these certain brackets, but there's not a lot of them being utilized. So there's such a difference. The percentage is still low with the businesses that are actually certified and who is actually being used, actually going. So the reason for the question for me was that if someone comes and says, they're going to do this trucking business and this is what they want to do, and they say, but I don't want to do the certifications, we would encourage them to do the certifications because they have more opportunities that will come into their inbox than if they did not, because it's always have things coming through. And opportunity for them to get used to bidding on those jobs or working and building a relationship inside that space. But if you never get your certification, or if you never file for those things, those are missed opportunities that people that put money on a table. So,
and they don't know who we are. They'll never know who we are.
Right. And I'm glad that you said that, because it's like they can go on it, they're in a database. And that means that if they sign up on the mailing list, that they can get pushed a lot of the information over, so that they can say, yes, I want to bid on the over the road job, or no, I only want to bid on whatever's coming out of Port of Houston.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome. So as we're starting to wrap up, so tell me a little bit, what should we expect from the Trucking Alliance? Because I know there's a lot of great stuff coming down through the chamber, and I'm excited to work with you.
Expect to see us everywhere.
Yes.
Well, my expectation, or our expectation, is for us to get the word out, awareness, get more trucking companies to join with us to, go after more contracts for the city of Houston, and also the state of Texas, to get more work and to impact our communities.
Awesome. I think, how can I help you? How can I help with this, with the mission to kind of get more trucking companies into the Alliance?
That's a great question. How can you help?
Yeah.
Marketing.
A lot of truckers. What do you say? You want me to build a trucking company?
Marketing.
Can't do it. I don't know what to do. I just can't do it.
Marketing and getting the word out. It's getting the word out, because a lot of times people just don't know. They don't know, and oftentimes I get it a lot when I'm out and I'm networking. Often people say, "Where did you come from? I never heard of you. I never heard of you." And so actually, I always say, "Well, that's great. You never heard of me. Well, let me tell you who I am and what I do." And I try to spit it out really, really, really quick, and try to build a partnership, or a relationship with them, and tell them more about who I am. And then when I say, well, especially if it's a prime,
come on now,
I have more people to come with me.
Yeah.
Part of why I really want to push the Alliance. Whether if it's you or someone else, if you know anything that's coming through the pipeline dealing with transportation, please let them know about the Alliance and how we can help.
I like that. Oh, and I just figured out how I'm going to help you with marketing. I just figured it out. I'm going to get you a banner.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
You look excited. That's what an entrepreneur looks like, when they're like, yes, I got that, and yes, we're going to get this done. And that's good, because we need to see that.
Yeah.
We need to see Instead
And
of keeping
also,
their
you
heads
know,
down.
I'm looking at it because I'm looking at the new generation. They need to see what's available to them, and they need to see that others are doing it, and look, you know, the endless opportunities
Right.
of what they can do. So that's what it's about.
I like it. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, me too. You made it so easy. I'm still nervous.
It's what I'm saying. It's just a conversation. We're just going to have a conversation. And today we had a conversation about trucking and the Trucking Alliance. And I think every industry needs to have a place, a collective place that we can all put into one place and figure out how can we help one another to collectively move the needle to where we need it to be.
Right, right.
Extremely important. And I'm so thankful that you guys have made the decision to do that, because there's a lot of people out here that have trucks that are doing it they're doing it, it's not necessarily wrong, but there is a better way for them to gain momentum by doing it with a group of people who is out for their greater success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about the greater success, not tearing down, but to build up.
There we go. That's what we all about. We got
Yeah.
to work out the chamber and stuff like that. So that's really good. I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
So,
you.
as we wrap up, you're going to go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you. So give out your contact information and let people know how they can reach you.
Okay, you can reach me at Harbor Logistics LLC at gmail.com, or you can reach me at 346-812-1570. We have a website, harborlogisticsllc.com.
I like that. That's pretty cool. That's always nice. And if anybody's looking at this and watching this and they're interested in trucking or interested in joining the community, it is out for the improvement of you. You're going to go to tcbcc.org for more information about how to join the chamber. At the end of the day, I can just honestly say that the chamber there are many chambers out there. There are many different communities you can join, but this one has been extremely beneficial to myself and many other people that I have met. And as long as you're willing to do the work, I know that the work and what you're aiming for will actually manifest itself in what you're doing and the people that you surround yourself with. So I think it's an awesome place to be, and at least people would want to go and take a look. They can find Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce on all of the social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. And you can also, again, go to the website. But we're going to go ahead and thank our two sponsors, which is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. And we will also like to thank Permacore Solutions. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Pauline, for hanging out with me today. It was awesome. And everybody, make sure that you can tune in to Let's Talk Business podcast every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time at gmtradio.com. And just keep in mind, if you're interested in a podcast, radio, or a television show, to reach out to gmtradio.com for more information about how to get your ad and your podcast on the air. So everybody have a great and glorious day. And thank you very much for listening. And thank you again, Pauline, for hanging out with me for the hour.
Same here. Have a good one. Bye.
You too.